Welcome back to the Live and Learn podcast. If you're new to the podcast, we talk about finance, lifestyle, and the little things in between. My name is Arpan.
I'm David G. If you look for the good moments
and learn from the bad,
you're in the right place. This is the Live and Learn podcast. All right. How's it going today? So this week we are talking about building. And that kind of goes for your metaphorical building, literal building, just things that you work on over time to get some sort of outcome, like whether that be like a successful project,
some sort of progressive outcome.
Yeah, progressive outcome.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's like not like, well, if you go back right, like the opposite way, you know, that'd be kind of be bad. If you learn something from it and it's not successful, that's still a success. But yes, today we are talking about building and just how we kind of we've experienced different builds in our lives. So to start it off, Arpan, what was the very first instance of a building that you can remember? That could be anything at all. A drawing you made.
Let's see. Yeah. Legos, and I was like, I don't know, 4.
It's a pretty easy one.
3. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. How old can you remember?
I think it's like 3 plus. Memory? You gotta be at least 3 to play with Legos.
That's true. It is.
That is true. By the way, off camera is Cooper. You'll get to know him soon. Legos. I think Legos were the first one.
What was it though? Like, was it like a Lego plane?
I don't know.
You don't remember what it was?
I was 3. You remember anything from when you're 3?
Yes, I actually.
What do you remember?
It was like maybe like 3 or 4, but like when I was like somewhere between 3 and 4, I very vividly remember knocking over a policeman's motorcycle, running in my house, and hiding inside of a rug, until my mom dealt with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember back when I was like 3 years old, I had like a play date with all my friends. Mm-hmm. And one of them was like, yo, what if like we just dragged you on this carpet with your back on the floor? And I was like, bro, that sounds dope as hell. Do it.
That doesn't sound
I had rug birds.
It doesn't sound very productive.
Entire back.
I would say that is a failure of a build.
Yeah. But you live and learn, you see?
Oh my fucking god. Yeah. Because I think as far as like Legos go, my first ever Lego set was like, this was like sometime in elementary school. I can't remember what specific age, but this like family friend like got me a Lego plane set.
Yeah.
So it was like this like giant like passenger plane basically, or I think it might have been a shipping plane, and it took me I think maybe like 3 or so days to like put that thing together, but like, oh my god, that was so much fun. Legos brings children joy until you choke on them.
I don't think I ever played. Yeah. I don't think I ever played with like the formal Lego sets.
Really?
I think it was like one of those. Like,
what do you call like formal?
Like, because there are actual sets that Lego makes. Okay, I see what you mean. Like they make these like toy cars.
You never like had a set?
I think I had one set. I never really like.
What was the set? I mean, because like everybody like has a point where they just like play with something.
Actually, no, it was a helicopter.
A helicopter?
Yeah.
Those are pretty sick.
It was like a yellow and gray, something like that.
Okay. I mean, why do you think we build things at all?
I think that's like innate.
Yeah, an innate like just like nature.
It's like no.
Progression.
It's an innate thing because you don't want to do something.
Yeah.
So you try to make it easier.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, okay, that's like a human laziness thing.
Yeah.
We literally build technology to make our lives easier so we can do less things.
Yeah. But like I think that's where like a lot of like building just starts, because like, you know, you don't want to sleep under a tree for like the rest of your life. Build a house. It'll be a bit hard for a bit, but like after that, comfort.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, well, in its truest form, yes.
Yeah.
Building is just to get away from doing actual work. But
No, but like it's like getting away from doing mundane work.
Mundane work, okay.
It's not like you can't describe that as actual work because you could sleep under a tree forever and like that wouldn't be doing something like greatly profound.
True. Okay.
You kind of get my message here.
Well, I feel like then in that sense, that's in like a very like modern sense, but like why do we build for like our own pleasure? Like why is a child even like interested in putting together a Lego helicopter or a Lego Boeing plane,
I think there is like some joy, like some innate joy that comes from seeing something grow. And like the process of building, it was the chair. No, don't think about it too much. And the process of building like gives you all of those steps.
Yeah.
That just makes you feel that pleasure. Yeah.
So you think it's just seeing your progress over time?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Well, not necessarily your progress. Like, it doesn't need to be your specific progress. It can be anything proceeding. But just seeing that development, I think that's just like very interesting for us as humans.
Okay. Okay. Then what's something you've built then that you in more like recent life that you think is relevant right now?
Buildings. I don't think I've like necessarily built anything.
Really?
I think it's a lot.
Are you in the process of building something?
Yeah,
then?
it's a lot of like skill acquisition.
Skill acquisition?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like I'm learning new software, and
For
then
what?
that 3D modeling.
Okay.
And then that slowly like grows into someday building something. But right now I kind of need to make that foundational layer.
Okay.
What about you though?
Myself, I guess right now, I think the easiest thing would be to say we're building this podcast.
Oh yeah, I could have thought of that.
Yeah, it's slow progression. It's literally initially started out as an idea.
Yeah.
Hey.
A couple of terrible episodes.
Hey, look. See, now why are you putting that in the air?
Don't worry about it.
You gotta
just
bleep that out.
Exactly. Look, you have to be overconfident and egotistical. Otherwise, why will anyone pay attention to you?
No, but like, how can you live and learn if you like, just sit down
Yeah,
and
you
make
can.
the best thing in the world?
Yes, true. And look, in life, there's always going to be a bigger fish. No matter what, there's always going to be a bigger fish. But for the time, until you see that bigger fish, you have to think you're the bigger fish. Okay?
Okay.
So you can't downplay yourself. Otherwise, people are going to assume, oh, he's saying he's bad, then he's probably bad. And I refuse to have that stain on a property that I am a part of.
Interesting.
Okay. But anyways, building a podcast. Started out as a, general idea as far as starting something, talking about like finance, like lifestyle stuff, trying to whether it be giving tips. Then that sooner devolved into recording a first episode while also not actually having a real place to record in. And then eventually getting a place to record in. Yeah. Wow, look how far we've come. And we're still in like the building processes. First few episodes we've obviously been having general discourse with ourselves, but future planning on having guests on our show as well as...
We're having a guest next week.
Less of a guest and more of a new part of the show.
A recurring guest.
I guess, yes, that's a better term, huh? So, yeah, it's growth over time, and I feel very proud of, the work we've done so far.
Yeah.
And I only see more success in the future.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we just gotta, keep working at it. Anything else you'd like to touch on there?
I don't think so. Like, you kind of covered all the bases.
Yeah? Okay.
I talked about my Legos.
Yeah.
You talked about something a bit more meaningful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, how do you think a little idea scales into something bigger?
Persistence.
Persistence?
Wow.
You're gonna have to be a little more specific.
No, you got to keep it vague so people can interpret it as they need, you know? Like, no Zen master gives you the answer to life.
Sure.
They say something like nothing, actually. They don't say anything. Just got to understand what life is.
I think you're talking about a charlatan.
No, that's actually... Yeah, we can get into, like, the teaching habits of Eastern cultures later, but... Yeah, but I think that's, like, a very common way of learning, though.
Okay,
You
but
observe and you learn.
But scaling, though, like, how does something little scale bigger? Like, how does Jeff Bezos go from having a bookstore that he ships, like, books to in his garage to having a multi-billion-dollar, warehouse of, like, literally whatever the fuck you want? But obviously on a smaller scale, because explaining that scale is kind of hard.
Yeah. Well, you see, if I was building a multi-billion-dollar company, where I would start is, I don't know. I think it's like just...
You can't think that you're starting a multi-billion-dollar company, though. You can't, start...
You start with something...
At the bottom, and then you're thinking that you're going to have to go all the way up here. It's little steps. Like,
yeah.
You got to go from the garage... to the office space, to owning your own little office, and then slowly working your way up.
So then you think it's like a step-by-step process then?
Yeah.
Would you like to come over here and tell us a bit more about it?
Oh, I don't know, just look at the space we're in right now.
The slow growth.
So this is still a secret character, but as you will soon find out,
Are you in frame? Okay, now
he's obviously in frame.
No, you're standing up. He's relatively tall.
Yeah, it's fine. But yes, this is a new host you'll be seeing starting next week. William Cooper Benson, or how would you like to be referred?
Cooper's good.
Right.
Cooper's great.
Sounds
good. You guys
good.
know me as Cooper.
All right, so tell us a bit more about scaling.
Okay, so we're talking about scaling, moving up. Just look at where my father started too.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Just in our basement. This business that we're in now.
Would you like to tell them a bit about Aquamedics?
Aquamedics provides Legionella solutions. Filtration-based, point of use.
Yeah.
We mainly cater to nursing homes and hospitals where that's where you'll find the most vulnerable patients.
Yeah.
Because things like Legionella or Pseudomonas aeruginosa, basically they are only dangerous for the most immunocompromised individuals.
So your father sells water filters in order to solve this problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, and he gets them from Europe because in Europe there's actually a higher standard for clean water that there is here in the United States. Surprisingly. Yeah. So your water isn't as clean as you think. Okay. So it's more of a standard to have all these filters everywhere in Europe, and those regulations are slowly kind of building up here in the U.S. So he started selling back in the mid to kind of 2010 time, so a little bit after the 2008 crash. He was helping people get jobs, so he's a recruiter for a while, but he quit that and started Aquamedics, kind of like off a whim. He said he saw kind of a vacancy in the market, or like an opening in the market. He saw an opportunity, and he tried to grab hold of it, which was this market for point-of-use filtration in the United States.
I mean, I think it's interesting the way that you phrase that, because I've heard a term recently, or a saying about luck, which is luck is the combination of preparation and chance. And it seems like how do you think he was like prepared to like handle that instance? Because like obviously he had the chance. He'd like noticed like the pocket in the market.
I think
How was he prepared to like take advantage of that?
He was prepared, I think, both financially and probably mentally to start running his own business, probably because he's had so much experience working for other companies. He's had sold medical equipment in the past as well.
Yeah.
So, and I think he just had kind of a background to, be his own boss and then also start leading other people. So he had that going for him. So that was, what we're talking about, luck and opportunity kind of combining.
Luck is where preparation and chance.
Yep. So he was prepared financially, I'd say, and mentally, and then the chance was the point of use filtration.
Cool.
Getting that stuff. So, not that you have to be crazy rich to capitalize on things financially or, capitalize on opportunities, but, you got to be realistic.
Of course.
Could he have, started importing all these filters from Europe without all of the work he'd put in years before? And,
I feel like a standard person probably wouldn't like know where to start, even like realizing, oh, hey, there's a need for like clean water.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he had some partners in the beginning, and he's had so many partners and so many employees, and it's amazing to see how over the span of, I think, 10 years now that he's been running this business, how many people have come and go.
Yeah.
And he's stuck through it because he's seen this opportunity and he's stuck with it, where other people may have given up because they didn't see that opportunity as flourishing into something bigger.
Yeah.
He, like Arpan was saying, persistence. He stuck with it. And he could have quit many times, and he told me many times that he's wanted to quit. But and there's been so many ups and downs, and that's the other thing is you might feel that you're like at rock bottom when you're trying to build up towards what you're trying to achieve. And you'll have so many ups and downs, but in those downs, you just have to fight through them.
Of course, that's
the better
most important part about building something.
Yeah.
Like having that consistency there, because I've been hearing this saying a lot as well. Of it takes 14 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize like the time you're putting in, the effort, like just the things that you have to sacrifice in order to build something that is like will eventually be successful.
Yeah.
So, in order to go back to the original statement of like scaling, in order to scale, you have to have an idea of like where you want to be later.
Yeah.
And I feel like your dad like had a good idea of like, wanting to expand. Like you said, started out in your garage, like, buying stuff overseas, eventually hired employees like lab researchers to kind of like do research on like the type of bacteria that you might see in water.
Yep, and do validation testing for the filters as well is a big thing, is actually testing to make sure those filters do what he's saying they're doing.
Exactly. So, making sure you have a good product that like people are going to want. Then, getting people to sell that product for you. I know, like, I think your dad is getting a hold of like another like.
Yep. He just brought on another person on the sales force.
Exactly.
Just acquired the lease next door to expand. So.
And then I know he's expanding right now. Like he literally makes like his like doesn't he also like make his own like water filters at this point as well?
Yep. Yeah. So he started off just importing the stuff from Europe. And then eventually he's designed his own filter housings here and his own filter adapters. So it kind of started as him just, going off of somebody's idea, but then eventually it's transformed into his own design. So.
Sweet. Yeah, so I would say that's a very successful build then.
Yeah.
And scaled into something pretty great considering it's only continuing to expand, like you said. Literally just so currently we are in an office room for this company Aquamatics, and they just bought out their neighbor, and they now own the neighboring space over there.
And I'll tell you, 3, 4, maybe 5 months ago, this like my dad was down in the dumps. Like business was not good, and so all of his competitors were beating him out, and he was struggling to get sales, struggling to get new accounts. And I just got back from a 3-month trip in Alaska, and the first thing I step in the door, and they're shoving out, dozens of packages, and I'm like, "How's it going? How's business?" He's like, "It's great. We just bought out the neighbors. We're expanding, so it's great."
Do you know what changed?
I think a need for the filters in the market. As time goes on and as regulations get doled out for cleaner water, I think more and more hospitals and nursing homes especially will realize that they can't expose their patients to...
Especially with the crisis that we're having right now.
100%. Like, just like knowing that how important being cleanly is, like, right now, as far as like staying safe, like not getting sick, like how is that not any more relevant to the water you're drinking, making sure that when you're in these like facilities such as hospitals, nursing homes, that you're keeping your patients safe.
The standard of cleanliness, I feel like over the past year and a half since COVID has just completely increased. Like surface cleanliness of anything, the air cleanliness, airplanes are always having the air filtered out, and then obviously just water too. Having clean water.
Of course.
You think it's like clean water, the access to clean water should just be a right to life. Like if you have the right to life and liberty, you'll have the access to clean water, clean air.
Legislation is something really interesting.
Do we touch on legislation?
Why not? I mean, I don't care. Do you have something relevant to say?
I don't.
No?
I try to stay out of...
How much about
I shouldn't say I try to stay out of politics.
physically-
I think I choose my sides wisely, but...
Okay.
No.
Well,
I try to choose to be agreeable unless the other person across from me is not being agreeable.
I hear you. Yeah. My only point there is just like what we've noticed is like a lot of changes are very slow. They only like get realized by like our like higher like politicians when it becomes a problem. Like we see it all the time. So nothing new here. No. But I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad our beloved Brady Benson is booming in business.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
For now.
Okay. So let's move on a bit then. So let's talk about how do you deal with failure in a build?
Failure. I think you can't let failure get the best of you. Obviously. You can't let that failure define you. It's like if you lost the big high school football game. You can't just live the rest of your life thinking of yourself as thinking of that moment that you failed, thinking of what could have gone differently. That's just the classic example. Didn't catch the football. So I think you have to move past failures in order to build.
Of course. I like in that example you gave of like, your high school football player. I feel like it's like such a huge movie trope. You have this like high school athlete, captain of like, the football team.
He's got everything going for him. He's got the girlfriend. And
he's got the nice car. Fast forward like 10, 15 years, he's a loser. He's still driving that same car that's like 10 years old now. Not too much is going for him. Still just relives his glory days of oh wow, high school was lit. But like high school is like such a small like segment of your life that by the time you reach like I feel like 30, 35, like you're barely gonna remember it. Exactly, because like life goes on, and I feel like as far as like the relevancy of like building something, if you like have a failure, it's no reason to like you said, don't let it define you. But,
and you have to, you kind of have to make that failure irrelevant. Not that you shouldn't learn from it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't let it keep you down.
Of course. Because like you have to be able to either you have to be able to adapt.
Yeah.
Adapt to the situation, learn from that mistake you made, so you can continue moving forward.
Yeah.
And whatever your project is that you're like building, you can continue in that direction with the knowledge you've gained, or go in a different direction because you realize this won't work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anything to add there?
Oh no, I'm just thinking of some parallels with this company here, with my dad's company. There's a product line where they're selling it, and it works well for a little while, but then they realize, there's a better method to it, or just a better product in general, like how he designed his own faucet. Yeah. The ones he was being sent were a little junky, so he just decided to do the manufacturing and production here instead. So
yeah, like adapt, change, and excel.
Overcome, I think, is the most common way.
Sure, yeah, I was just like putting it all together. That's what I was going for. I got the idea across, but yes, overcome. That's probably a better way to end it. Overcoming adversity, I think, is the best way to achieve anything, like achieve success in like something you're building, whether it be like I said, a business.
Could be building a house. You could be building your financial profile.
Exactly.
Building your net worth. You could be building a family.
Exactly, and like you can take a multitude of losses in like all those things.
Yeah. In
like different ways, but you have to be able to like adapt and overcome.
Yeah.
Okay. So when do you think it is time to stop building?
I don't know. Never.
Never?
Depends on where you feel like you're satisfied with how far you've come and when you feel like you should be done.
Well, break it down for me.
If you feel like you've really achieved. So I'll just go back to my dad's business here. A lot of times he talks about selling the business. Yeah. Because he's gotten it to the point where he feels like, he's gotten it good enough so it can run without him being present, being around. Yeah. And to the point where he can kind of cash out, let the business run itself, and just retire. So I don't know. Not everyone wants to retire though. So,
I mean, I hear like people retiring. That's how you lose your mind. That's how you start losing your brain cells.
So really, I don't think there's a limit to how far you can build. If you want to stop building, that just means you're satisfied with where you're at.
Well, give me an example for yourself. Like, as far as like something you want to build, something you are building, how you want to scale it, and what an endpoint looks like for you. Break it down for me.
I don't know. I guess an easy one would be like building my skills playing a guitar.
Sure.
The skill ceiling, you can just kind of keep going until you just a whiz on the guitar. Yeah. So I see myself always continually building my skill set up, and then where I can go from there, I can start mixing and matching different rhythms and start, producing music like you do a little bit. Those skills, what you're learning there, can always branch off. So I might learn one song on the guitar or one method on the guitar, and it might transfer. Some of those skills might transfer, say, over to the bass or to another instrument. So one thing that really helped me with guitar and instruments is playing the piano as well, because learning the chords on the piano and the chords on the guitar, then it kind of, things cross over. I could play a song that I could play on the piano. I can just think of the same chords and then play that same song on the guitar.
I mean, isn't that why like most people start on a piano? Because it's kind of like the root of like most instruments. Yeah. Learn to play the piano, you can play anything else basically.
Yep. I did it backwards though.
Yeah, you did.
So.
Well, you're a little bit of a savant in that way.
Yeah, but going back to just when do you want to stop building? I don't think you should ever stop building. Personally, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I think there is a lot to say about shifting directions, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because there is a point where you want to build something different.
Yeah.
And with the fact that we are humans and we have such limited time, I think you need to choose which building is more important to you at the current moment.
Yeah.
Because, I see that happen a lot with, especially, we're pretty young, but, talking to older people, you get that perspective, hey, I wanted a family now. So, I cashed out of my business. Or I stopped doing these activities because I thought, this was a different avenue that I wanted to take my life, and I believe that it is more fulfilling to myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I 100% agree. You might finish one build or something that you're building and move on to something else. And it really doesn't matter what that new thing is, so long as it's important to you. Something that
gives you satisfaction.
Exactly. And I think Arpan gave a really good example of let's say you've done a bunch of work building a company, you're Jeff Bezos, you just finished it's Amazon, you're stepping down from your company now, so you want to, let's imagine that Jeff Bezos didn't get divorced from his wife and has a few kids, say steps down, decides, hey, I'm going to start investing time into my family, doing things, building memories, so on and so forth.
But hey, he did his own different path, though, because,
you mean investing into a space company?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't make fun of that. The man's
no, I'm not making fun of it. I'm look, you're right. He switched avenues.
Yeah.
Went into rocket ships.
As much as people talk about eat Bezos, kind of commendable.
Yes, eat Bezos. But it is ignorant to ignore his success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and my overall point is, it doesn't matter what you're building, so long as it's important to you. You want to put effort into it to make it something great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And enjoy the process.
Of course. It's that one saying, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey and the friends you made along the way.
Yeah. Playing the piano, you don't play it to finish the song. You play it for every note in between.
It's a new one. I have not heard that one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I don't really have too much else left on building. Do you guys have anything else you want to bring up?
No.
I think we need a bigger studio.
Or
at least a bigger shot.
We just need more cameras.
Another camera.
Well,
another mic.
Shot would probably fix the issue.
Okay, then let's get into our segments. So today on Money Moves, we are talking about PJ Washington. So,
oh boy, Arpan, you might need to take this one from here. I don't even know who PJ Washington is.
Yes.
Don't worry, I barely do.
All right. Let's see. Yeah. So PJ Washington plays for the Charlotte Hornets, and for most of you that don't know, he was dating Brittany Renner, who is just overall Instagram model,
Personality.
Personality. Instagram
Influencer.
Personality. Influence is probably the best term to use, but personality makes her sound less bad.
Okay.
But yes, overall, just your average e-thought. And, Brittany Renner, No, actually, PJ Washington is 23 years old. So overall, like, pretty young. And Brittany Renner, I think, how old is she? Let's see.
I don't know any of this.
Brittany Renner is 26. No, she's not. She's 29. She's almost 30. So, pretty big age gap. This being like a relatively like new basketball player. Like, I think he only recently signed his contract to the Hornets, signing for, I believe, somewhere around like 14 million. And that's like what he's expected to make with his like a contract there. And they also had a child during all of this, and also got married. And within the span of Brittany Renner having the child, somewhere along the line, she got divorced from him. And because they're divorced...
In a secretive manner.
Yeah, she got divorced in secret. And now PJ Washington has to pay $200K in child support a month. So, there's a lot to digest there, and I think the general message I wanted to like talk about is just...
Now, do you, Teddy, believe that this is predatory behavior?
This is extremely predatory because, for one, I've noticed, I've seen a few articles about a lot of these like Instagram girls like following basketball players, like, you know, like their scouting habit. They're like their scouting locations where like they're playing for something. They'll like follow their like college career and whatnot. And like, mind you, these are like, you know, 30-year-old women like preying on like, you know, these 20-some like, you know, basketball players or like whatever athletes, you know,
fresh onto the court.
Exactly, looking for a check. And that's exactly what Brittany Renner got. So I guess the reason why I want to like talk about this was just because when you have a lot of like fast money like that, or just like a large sum of money, at a really young age, 23, like I'm literally 23, and you have to be super careful about like how you're going to protect that investment. Because I think Shaquille O'Neal has like a really famous story about like how he signed like a deal with like the Lakers, went out, bought a Mercedes-Benz, came home, his dad said, "Hey, where's my Mercedes?" Then he was like, "All right, bet." They went out, bought him a Mercedes-Benz. They came back. His mom was like, "Oh, where's my Mercedes-Benz?" Went out, got another one. Then I think he like bought some like jewelry, like whatever, whatnot. And then
the next day his bag was flagged for fraud.
No, like his like, I think his financial advisor called him and was like, "Hey, you're broke. You're out of money."
I don't think he was out of money.
This was like his early career.
3 Mercedes-Benzes.
And some jewelry, clothes, whatever, whatnot, like a bunch of stuff. Like, it's just like, I think a lot of people underestimate how easy it is to spend a bunch of money. And like, relatively speaking, like, let's say like 14, like, you know, I'm going to decrease to like $5 million. It is easier to spend $5 million than you think, especially if like, you know, you're going around thinking you have an infinite amount of money.
Yeah.
And I think the lesson there is just like, know what you're dealing with. Like, there are a lot of people after your money. You have to be like conscious that you can't just give family like money all the time. You have to like build that investment so you can like help them over like a long period of time, as opposed to like getting them like one nice car, you know. Like, I think there's like a J. Cole quote, something about like, you know, you bought the new Benz, but you know, couldn't buy your mom a house. You know, like, it's these short-term things will not matter in the long run. They might make you like really happy right now, but what does it do for you later along the line? It's just like sunk cost. And now PJ Washington has $200K in sunk cost every month.
Every month.
Every month.
Let's see, what does that come out to a year? That's 2.2 mil.
He's gonna be broke pretty quick.
Oh
14
yeah. Yeah. And like, imagine like the amount of like stress and like just strife you have to deal with being like in that situation. I feel like that's gonna like majorly affect his playing, just because like his life's not in order. So
You could be affording like an island in like 2 years.
yeah.
Damn.
But you know, Brittany Renner will be affording an island in 2 years.
Baby, cash that check. Let's go.
So I think Arpan, you mentioned something about prenups.
Yeah, no. This is a prime example of why prenups are so like good, in all honesty, because it's not just about like, you know, defending yourself. It's also about like just having a healthy financial relationship with people.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of like historically relationships have been deemed as this thing where you're pretty much like becoming one person. But in this day and age, I don't think, and even back in the day, like I just think that was a flawed thought process, because everybody's different. And you need to deal with, like, everybody needs to deal with what they want to do in their own manner. And yeah, prenups are just like the best legal defense for, like, you know, living your life properly.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially when you have that much money floating around.
So what would you do? So a prenup does protect you in most instances. But what if I told you that Dr. Dre had a prenup with his wife, and they recently got divorced, and he's kind of in like the same situation as PJ Washington, meaning because they were like all the clauses in their like a prenuptial agreements were met, like nothing was broken, like, you know, nobody cheated, blah blah blah. I don't know what else could go on a prenup.
Yeah.
And so because none of that was like broken when they separated, she qualified for spousal support. That being, I think Dr. Dre has to pay like $300K. It's something in that ballpark. But yeah, I think I was like reading an article on like all the things she asked for, and I think it's kind of just like funny because I think she asked for like $100K for charity. And I just really thought that was funny, because how are you gonna ask for charity to give to other people when you are charity?
Damn. Word from the wise.
But yeah, like, just
No, but like that goes into like, you know, prenup clauses and like
yeah, like that
that's
discussion's kind of,
beyond
yeah, it's like on
my
honestly,
understanding of things. Like
it's irrelevant, like in the grand scheme. But I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Well,
Life's tough.
do we have any more advice for our loving viewers?
I was gonna say something, but that's inappropriate.
Oh my goodness. What are we gonna do with you?
Well, what's the next?
Are we done?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're the one with the script.
Did you not read the outline?
Well, I did, but like, you know.
So you should know what we have to do.
You're master script man.
Oh my god. So yeah, it looks like that is all for us this week.
You guys met Cooper. He's gonna be back again.
Yo.
Yeah. So
We're gonna change up the shot a little bit so both of us, all three of us, can fit next time.
So yeah, a few things will be in the changes. Next week we will have Cooper. He will be our new host / guest for the week, I guess.
Maybe I'll do a little guitar intro too.
A little guitar intro. Well, not mine. And then the following week, we will likely be having our first actual guest. So look forward to that. Thanks for sticking with us. Sorry, this episode's a little bit shorter than usual. And yeah, we will see you guys next week. Goodbye.
All right, toodaloo.
All right.